Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every life when you have to decide, how bad do you want it? How deep is your hunger? Because this world doesn't hand success to the most talented or the most gifted. It gives it to the most hungry. The one who wakes up early, stays up late, keeps knocking on doors that won't open, keeps pushing when the tank is empty and still finds a way to move forward. That's hunger. That's drive. That's the fire that separates winners from wishers. See, it's easy to want something. It's easy to dream. But the question is, do you want it bad enough to fight for it? Are you hungry enough to go after your dream when the odds are stacked against you? When nobody believes in you? When you're broke, tired, discouraged? And still you say, I'm not quitting, I'm not stopping, I'm not folding, I'm going all the way. Let me tell you something, life is not a straight road. It's full of potholes, detours, storms, and obstacles. But hunger will get you through it. Hunger makes you crawl when you can't walk. Hunger makes you fight when others flee. Hunger keeps you moving when fear says, sit down. When your mind says, this is enough. Hunger says, let's go one more mile. You've got to want it. Not casually, not occasionally. You've got to want it so bad that you'll sacrifice for it, that you'll study when others sleep, that you'll train while they party, that you'll invest when others spend. Because hunger doesn't ask for easy, it demands commitment, and it rewards relentlessness. There are people with more talent than you, more connections, more money. But if they're not hungry, they won't outlast you. Hunger levels the playing field. Hunger makes the underdog dangerous. It gives you an edge that no degree, no resume, no inheritance can buy. Because the person who's hungry will find a way. When I say hunger, I'm not talking about desperation. I'm talking about determination. A decision that no matter what comes your way, you won't be denied. That even when the world says no, you'll whisper to yourself, I'm still coming. That when the doors slam shut, you'll kick them open. When the lights go out, you'll light your own flame. And hear me clearly, hunger will require pain. You will be tested. You will be doubted. You will feel lonely. But that's when your hunger gets refined. That's when it becomes real. That's when the wheat gets separated from the chaff. That's when the world finds out just how serious you are. So don't wait for the right time. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Don't wait for someone to validate you. The time is now. You've got everything you need inside of you. You just have to want it. You have to claim it. You have to hunger for it. Because if you don't, someone else will. And they will run with what you were supposed to carry. So stop playing small. Stop negotiating with your future. Stop sitting in the back row of your own life. Stand up, step forward, lock in, stay hungry, stay focused, stay committed. Because when you've got that kind of hunger, nothing, and I mean nothing, can stop you. Let the world see the fire in your eyes. Let your actions speak louder than your excuses. Let your hustle be your message. Because you're not here to take part, you're here to take over. And the secret, you got to be hungry. ChatGPT said hunger is the fuel that drives purpose into action. It is the inner fire that refuses to let you sleep on your gift. Without hunger, dreams remain dreams. They stay locked up inside you, safe, untouched, and unfulfilled. You've got to want it so bad that it keeps you up at night, that it pulls you out of bed in the morning with fire in your soul and determination in your eyes. When you're hungry, quitting is not an option. Waiting for permission is not an option. Playing small is not an option. People will look at you and say, you don't have what it takes. They'll judge you by what you lack: money, connections, experience. But what they can't see is your hunger. They don't understand that a person who is truly hungry becomes resourceful. A person who is hungry will find a way. A person who is hungry doesn't focus on what they don't have. They maximize what they do have. They squeeze everything out of every opportunity. They stretch every moment. They treat every failure like a stepping stone. And let me tell you something, hunger will separate you. It will isolate you. Because most people aren't willing to go all in. They want comfort. They want convenience. They want guarantees. But you got to want growth more than comfort. You've got to want progress more than people's approval. You've got to want purpose more than peace and quiet. Because chasing your calling isn't calm. It's chaos. It's rejection. It's late nights and lonely mornings. But if you're hungry, you'll endure the pressure. The pressure because you know what's on the other side of pain. Hunger forces purpose into motion. It doesn't wait for motivation. It doesn't wait for someone to tell you you're ready. Hunger decides you're ready. It says, I may not have all the answers, but I'm going anyway. I may not be perfect, but I'm moving anyway. I may be scared, but I refuse to be stuck. That's hunger. Hunger doesn't ask for permission, it claims territory. Hunger doesn't beg for opportunity, it creates it. And when life knocks you down, and it will, you don't stay down, you don't whine, you don't fold. You don't let the setback become your story. You rise. You rise with more grit. You rise with more clarity. You rise with a fire that tells the world, I'm not done yet. You rise because that hunger in you will not let you stay on the floor. You rise because your future is still waiting on you. Some of you are sitting on a dream. You've been thinking about it, talking about it, praying about it, planning for it, but you haven't moved. Why? Because you've let fear sit in the driver's seat. You've let comfort convince you to stay average. But you were not born for average. You were not built for mediocrity. You were created to rise, to lead, to build, to impact. And none of that happens unless you get hungry enough to chase it. You've got to reach the point where the pain of staying the same is greater than the fear of stepping out. That's when hunger takes over. That's when the old excuses lose their power. That's when doubt starts to fade. Because now your desire has a voice. Your calling has momentum. Now, your life has direction. So I'm asking you, what's it going to be? Are you going to keep letting life pass you by while you sit on your potential? Or are you going to get hungry? Hungry enough to fail? Hungry enough to grow? Hungry enough to become everything you were born to be? Because the truth is, you won't get there by luck. You won't get there by accident. You'll get there because you wanted it more than anyone else. You'll get there because your hunger turned your purpose into action. ChatGPT said, when you're hungry, you don't wait for opportunities, you create them. You don't wait for the phone to ring, you pick it up and start dialing. You don't wait for a door to open, you build your own door or kick one down if you have to. You see, life isn't going to hand you anything on a silver platter. Nobody's going to show up with a magic wand and say, here, it's your turn. No, if you're hungry, you make it your turn. Hunger gives you tunnel vision. It makes your vision so clear that excuses have no place in your life. When you're truly hungry, you stop playing the blame game. You stop saying, if only I had this, if only someone helped me. No, you say, let me see what I've got and I'll work with it. You stop focusing on the obstacles and you start focusing on the outcome. That's what hunger does. It transforms limitations into innovation. I remember hearing a story about a young man who wanted to be successful. He met a mentor, and the mentor took him to the ocean. The mentor walked him into the water, deeper and deeper, and suddenly held the young man's head under. Just as the young man was about to pass out, the mentor pulled him up and asked him, when you were underwater, what did you want more than anything? The young man gasped, air. And the mentor said, when you want success as badly as you wanted air, then you'll have it. That's what hunger looks like. That's the intensity you need. People talk about being tired, about feeling drained. But what I've learned is this: it's not that you're tired, it's that you're uninspired. It's not your body that's exhausted, it's your spirit that's under feet. You've lost the connection to your why. When you're hungry, that why wakes you up, it drives you, it breathes life into your bones. You don't need an alarm clock when your purpose wakes you up before the sun does. Hunger is the engine that keeps your dream alive when everything around you says, stop. Some people quit because the journey is hard. They say, I tried once and it didn't work. But if you're hungry, you'll try again and again. Because you're not just interested, you're committed. There's a difference between interest and commitment. Interest says, I'll show up when it's easy. Commitment says, I'll show up when it's hard, when it's uncomfortable, when it's inconvenient, and when no one's clapping. Hunger gives birth to that commitment. You can't be passive and expect to win. You can't be casual about your gift and expect to be great. Hungry people are obsessed with the next level. They study, they practice, they stretch, they learn. And they don't do it for applause. They do it because they must. There's a voice in them saying, there's more in you. Keep digging, keep climbing. They know that nobody owes them anything, but they owe everything to the calling within them. And let me tell you something, hunger doesn't guarantee the outcome, but it guarantees that you'll leave it all on the table. It guarantees that when you look back, you won't be haunted by, what if? You'll know you gave it everything. You'll know you fought with all your might. You'll know you showed up for your life. Right now, someone out there with less talent, less resources, less support is doing more. Not because they have more, but because they're hungrier. That should shake you. That should stir something in your soul. That should remind you that your life will rise to meet your level of hunger. So ask yourself, how bad do you want it? Are you willing to go through the fire? Are you willing to sacrifice comfort? Are you willing to silence the noise of the crowd so you can hear the whisper of your purpose? Because if you're truly hungry, then nothing can stop you. Not failure, not rejection, not setbacks. Because hunger makes you unstoppable. Hunger makes you relentless. Hunger makes you rise. ChatGPT said distractions are the enemy of destiny. They don't come loud and obvious. No, they're subtle. They come dressed like entertainment, like comfort, like temporary satisfaction. And before you know it, you've been pulled off course. You started your journey full of passion, full of purpose. But somewhere along the way, life started whispering, just relax, take it easy, you've got time. And that whisper becomes a lullaby, rocking your dreams to sleep. If you're going to achieve greatness, you've got to guard your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. You've got to be intentional about what you give your attention to. Everything you allow in your mind, your heart, your ears, and your time either feeds your purpose or feeds your procrastination. You can't afford to live life distracted when destiny is calling your name. Let me tell you something. People who win don't have less distractions. They've just made a decision that nothing is going to come before their vision. They've drawn a line in the sand and said, this right here is sacred. My dream is sacred. My goal is sacred. My growth is sacred. You got to learn how to say no. Not because you're rude, but because you're rooted. Rooted in your mission, rooted in your why, rooted in who you're becoming. You've got to know what matters most and refuse to negotiate your greatness. Social media will still be there. That series you want to binge watch, it can wait. That phone call full of drama and gossip, you don't need it. Every minute you waste is a moment you could have used to move closer to your dream. Focus isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter. It's about aligning your energy with your end goal. I remember when I was working on myself, trying to get my life together, there were voices all around me saying, come on, let's go out. Let's take a break. One day off won't hurt. But let me tell you, one day off can cost you momentum. And when you lose momentum, it's not always easy to get it back. That's why you've got to protect it. You've got to fight for your focus like it's your last breath. And let's be clear, distractions aren't always external. Sometimes the loudest distraction is the voice in your own head saying, you're not ready, you're not good enough, what if you fail? That voice is not the truth, it's the test. It's the test to see if you'll fight for your vision, even when your fear is screaming. Will you believe in the whisper of your purpose more than the shout of your doubt? That's why you've got to train your mind. You've got to tell yourself daily, I am focused. I am disciplined. I am built for this. You've got to meditate on your mission. Journal your journey. Speak your goals out loud. Surround yourself with people who feed your fire, not your fears. Get around folks who remind you who you are and where you're going, not who waste your time talking about where you've been. Every distraction you overcome is a deposit in your destiny. Every moment you choose purpose over pleasure, you're stacking bricks in the foundation of your future. One focused day at a time, one no at a time, one intentional step at a time. You weren't born to live a life of chaos, of confusion, of distraction. You were born to live with clarity, conviction, and direction. But that kind of life won't happen by accident. It happens by decision. And that decision has to be made every single day. When you wake up, you choose focus. When you get tired, you choose purpose. When things don't go your way, you choose persistence. So I challenge you today, eliminate what doesn't serve you. Cut off what kills your energy. Get rid of what doesn't grow you. Because the more focused you become, the more unstoppable you will be. Your dream is waiting on you. Not the distracted version of you, the disciplined version of you. Not the comfortable you, the committed you. Lock in. Laser in. Eliminate the noise and execute. Your future depends on it. ChatGPT said, success doesn't belong to the fastest. It doesn't belong to the smartest. It belongs to the most disciplined. The ones who show up when it's hard. The ones who follow through when motivation has left the room. The ones who keep their word to themselves. Not just when people are watching, but especially when no one is. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It's waking up early when your bed feels warm. It's going to the gym when your body is tired. It's saying no to distractions when your mind wants comfort. Because deep down you know this comfort never changed anybody's life. You don't grow in comfort. You don't rise in ease. You don't win by accident. You win by decision, and that decision must be backed by discipline. I need you to understand something. Talent will get you attention, but discipline will build your legacy. You can be gifted, but if you don't show up consistently, that gift goes unused. You can have a dream, but if you're not willing to grind for it every single day, it stays just that, a dream. Discipline turns dreams into results. It's the vehicle that carries your vision into reality. Let me break it down for you. Discipline is about keeping promises, not just to others, but to yourself. It's self-respect in action. Every time you do what you said you'd do, you're telling yourself, I can count on me. And when you begin to trust yourself at that level, everything changes. Your confidence grows, your belief gets stronger, and you start walking different, talking different, thinking different. We've all had those days when we didn't feel like it. When everything in us screamed to take it easy. When quitting felt easier than continuing. But those are the days that define us. Not the days when it's easy. Anybody can do it when it's easy. I'm talking about the days when you're tired, frustrated, overlooked, discouraged, and you still show up. That's where greatness is born. Now hear me. Discipline doesn't mean perfection. You're going to stumble. You're going to have off days. You're human. But discipline says, I may fall, but I won't stay down. Discipline gets back up. Discipline recalibrates. Discipline doesn't wait to feel inspired. It takes action until inspiration returns. It doesn't operate off emotion. It operates off commitment. Your habits shape your destiny. What you do daily determines what you experience ultimately. That's why the little things matter. How you start your day, what you feed your mind, who you surround yourself with, whether you choose discipline or delay. These aren't just habits, they're seeds. And every seed you plant will grow into something. So ask yourself, what am I planting today with my choices? Some people say, I'm waiting until I feel ready. Let me tell you something. If you wait to feel ready, you'll wait forever. Champions don't wait. They create. They create momentum through disciplined action. They create clarity through consistent movement. They create their future by staying faithful to the process. There's power in routine. There's power in structure. There's power in doing what needs to be done again and again, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when it feels like nothing's happening. Because when you stay disciplined long enough, the results will show up. Your future self is waiting on the choices you're making today. So, what are you willing to commit to? What are you willing to be disciplined about? Your dream deserves more than random effort. It deserves your best, not your leftovers, not your excuses, not your maybe tomorrow. Your best. Every single day. Not for a week, not for a month, but for as long as it takes. Because discipline doesn't just change what you achieve, It changes who you are. It builds character. It builds confidence. It builds resilience. And when life knocks you down, because it will, discipline is what helps you rise again. Not because it's easy, not because it's fair, but because you decided not to quit. So show up, stay focused, keep grinding, be disciplined. And don't just chase success. Become the kind of person success can't ignore. ChatGPT said life doesn't hand out breakthroughs without breakdowns. It doesn't offer triumph without trial. If you're going to reach that next level, if you're going to do something extraordinary with your life, you better believe resistance is going to meet you head on. And that's why you've got to develop unshakable mental resilience. You've got to be strong in your mind before you ever become strong in your reality. Because if the mind breaks, the body follows. If the mind quits, the vision dies. Let me tell you something, storms are coming. Not maybe, not someday, they're coming. Pain will knock at your door. Life will test you, shake you, stretch you, and try to convince you to settle, to shrink, to stop. But hear me, you were not built to break. You were built to bend and bounce back. You were built to endure and rise stronger. But only if you train your mind like a warrior, not a worrier, not a wanderer, a warrior. Mental resilience is not something you wish for. It's something you work for. It's forged in fire. It's developed when you keep going, not because it's easy, but because you refuse to surrender. It's saying, this may be tough, but so am I. This may take time, but I'm in it for the long haul. This may knock me down, but I will not stay down. That kind of mindset isn't born, it's built. Every time you face disappointment and keep going, you build it. Every time you feel overlooked, unappreciated, and underestimated and still rise up, you build it. Every time life hits you with a loss, a betrayal, a setback, and you refuse to let bitterness take root, you build it. Mental resilience is your superpower in a world that wants to make you soft, distracted, and defeated. You see, too many people are emotionally reactive. One small offense and they fall apart. One no and they shut down. One failure and they write themselves off. But you've got to learn to take control of your mind, because the battle is not out there. The real battle is in here, in your thoughts, in your self-talk, in your belief system. You've got to reprogram that mind to speak life when everything around you looks dead, to speak hope when everything in you feels tired, to speak, I can, when every voice is saying, you can't. Stop letting temporary pain talk you out of permanent purpose. Stop letting difficult moments erase the reason you started. Your assignment is too important. Your calling is too critical. The people depending on your breakthrough are too many. So you've got to develop the kind of mindset that says, I will not be denied. I will not be moved. I will not quit. You've got to develop grit, not just talent fades, not just motivation wavers, but grit endures. Grit keeps going when the mood is gone. Grit finds a way when the plan falls apart. Grit shows up after failure and says, let's try again. And here's the truth. You will face doubt. You will face discouragement. You will face dry seasons where nothing seems to be working. But resilience says, I'm not attached to how I feel. I'm committed to what I said. Resilience says, I don't need perfect conditions to stay focused. I've got vision, and vision pulls me forward. Resilience says, even if I have to crawl, even if I have to cry, even if I have to start over again, I will not stop. There's someone right now reading this who feels tired. You've been doing the right thing and seeing the wrong results. You've been sowing, but the harvest hasn't shown up yet. And the enemy of your soul is whispering, give up, it's not working. But let me tell you, the test is a setup for the testimony. What you're enduring now is preparing you for where you're going next. Don't let what's missing make you forget what's coming. Mental resilience is refusing to be defined by defeat. It's rising every time life knocks you down. It's training your thoughts to align with your future, not your feelings. And when you walk in that kind of power, you become unstoppable. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger.